Well, hello there everyone. UXW Bill here with you once again on a special episode of Late Night or Early Morning, such as the case may be, Electronics Assembly with UXW Bill. You see, Bizzarefurhead went up to the Windy City over the weekend. That's Chicago, if you're unfamiliar with the term. He went to some kind of a convention up there. I don't know very much about it, but I do know that my assessment of what his friends did is not going to be very charitable. Unfortunately, all the friends that he has attended with over the years, well, to be very blunt about it, they stood him up. So he ended up going all by himself. But he still had a good time, and when he returned home, he brought with him a number of interesting things and a whole bunch of interesting stories. One of the things that he brought home was this 16 LED Blinkie electronic kit. And I don't know what the entire story behind this is, if maybe there was a group assembly of these things going on, or what the case might be, but he brought this home unassembled, brought it down to me, and asked me if I'd put it together for him. Now, at first I thought, well, you know, maybe he brought me a gift or something along those lines. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear so. It appears that he wants this for himself, so maybe I need to charge him my standard rate for assembly of electronic devices. Oh, I'm just kidding. He's my brother. I'll probably do it for nothing, but I might try to borrow this thing from him sometime. Anyway, as you can see, I've done most of the assembly already. I've got the two integrated circuit sockets installed. There's one for a microcontroller and then one for a shift register chip down at the bottom. There's two mode switches, a power switch, a little capacitor. I've started to put the LEDs in, and that was when the idea hit me that, well, maybe there'd be a few people out there who are interested in watching this and might like it if I shot some video of the assembly and ultimately the testing of this thing. I think I can go ahead and put this thing together in relatively short order. The most time-consuming part, of course, is going to be the installation of all these LEDs, and we do have quite a few of them. These are two-color LEDs, so they have 4 pins apiece. And of course there are a total of 16 of them. I have already installed 4. I'll go ahead and get one out of the bag here, hopefully without spilling all the rest of the contents. Well, looks like we got a bonus there. Got 2 of them. Well, that's alright. Anyway, what I'm going to go ahead and do here for your viewing pleasure or edification or whatever you might like to call it is I'm going to go ahead and prepare one of these LEDs for insertion into the circuit board. And then, since so many of you seem to have a perverse interest in watching me solder stuff, I'll go ahead and tack it down to the board here, trim up the leads, and then I'll shut the camera off and do all the rest of them. And when I get done with that, we'll have a run-up and we'll see if this thing actually works. For the most part, this thing's assembly is extremely straightforward. But the only thing that's potentially unclear about it is how the LEDs are meant to go in. They tell you where the longest lead should go, but then they leave it as kind of a process of elimination as to where the other 3 remaining leads should go. And I think that I've got it right based on the pictures, but the pictures are, as you can see here, they're a little bit hard to make out for absolutely certain, but I think I've got this right because down here in the corner, I'm trying to get something I can point with if I've got anything at all. Here we go, screwdriver will probably do. We know that the longest lead goes in this hole right here, and then it seems that the lead on the end goes in this right here, and then the other 2 LED leads up at the top have no choice but to go into the right place. Said I so boundlessly, in such a boundlessly optimistic way. Probably find out when I throw the microcontroller in this thing that I've inadvertently wired the LEDs such that they're shorting out or they're backwards or something stupid like that. But I'll go ahead and set the camera down here if I can do this. This will be definitely kind of a delicate ballet here. And there we go. We've got a good shot at the board. This will probably drive the image stabilization in this camcorder nuts. Anyway, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make sure that I've got this LED facing the right way with regard to the bevel. And of course it's around backwards. And then I'm going to bend that first longest leg down, if I don't drop it all over the place. This is why I don't like doing this stuff on camera, because invariably it goes pear-shaped and I'm left looking, well, maybe not so much unprofessional, but definitely more unprofessional than usual. Yeah, see, this is not really going the way I want it to go here, and you can't really see it because of the angle where I've got the camera set. There we go. Now you can kind of see where I'm going with this, though. And we'll bring our little friend, the circuit board, over here. And again, this is going to be very, very hard for you to see. But the longest lead for the LED should go in there. This is definitely on the fiddly side. It's not the most fiddly electronics related thing I've done, but it's certainly up there. I gotta be able to see what I'm doing, which unfortunately means that you can't. Yeah, it figures. About the time I'd have the camera turned on. There we go. There we go. Now I've got it going in there just like it ought to. And of course the goal here is to make sure that all the LEDs wind up approximately the same height when you've got them installed. So let's see here. Can I position this so that you can actually see what I'm about to do to it? We're about to go ahead and put the smack down to it. We're going to solder this bad boy down, and it's going to like it. So let's see what we've got here. Go ahead and just dovetail in. This iron should be good and hot. There we go. Yeah, it'd help if I could point it in there the way I need to. I'm not going to do all 15 of these LEDs with the camera turned on, that's for sure. Okay, go ahead and duck that one in there. And there they go. And there went the camera. How's that for an added bonus? Take a trip and you never left YouTube. So now we'll go ahead and just kind of splay these leads apart here. I actually do have a little tripod for this camcorder, but I have no idea where it's gotten to. So go ahead and trim these leads off. They caution you in the instructions not to trim them down particularly close to the actual blob of solder that you put in place. Oh, that one went firing right at the camera lens. I'm sure that was good for it. Precision optics, good way to treat them, I guess. Okay, there we go. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 LEDs installed. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the camcorder off and install all the others. Wow, 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Alrighty, I'm back. And isn't that just pretty looking? Well, it is until you look at the horrific job of soldering it that I did. Oh, so let's see here. We're pretty much ready to put the finishing touches on this thing. Now, Furhead opted to get, or maybe these things came standard with, I don't know, a power delivery upgrade kit. You see these things as they stand. They are powered from 2 CR2032 batteries that I believe are wired in parallel, but I haven't looked real closely at the circuit board traces to confirm that. Plus, like I said, it's late at night. It's after 4:30 in the morning as I'm shooting this video, so I could very well have it wrong. Anyway, an application like this will beat the sense out of CR2032 batteries. They don't like delivering the kind of current that's needed to run one of these. And so the power upgrade kit comes with a AA battery. We have a Duracell Pro Cell right there, as well as a holder that goes in place of the CR2032 holders on the back of this thing. And while it's still none too kind of a treatment for a AA battery, it is at least likely to have something more than the lifetime of, say, an apple in the sun or a banana in the sun or something along those lines, or a marshmallow in a fire, something like that. You've probably noticed I'm saving all these wire scribbles, and there is in fact a reason for that. That is to say, I've saved the ones that haven't flung themselves across the room and will undoubtedly be looking to prong me in the feet or some other painful part of my anatomy when I'm walking around down here in the dark without shoes on, which is not a good idea. You don't want to be doing that here in the basement. I'm saving these because you actually need these scribbles in order to hook up this power booster board. This is a boost converter. It takes a 1.5 volt input from the AA battery that you can see right there and outputs a total of 5 volts from it. So you put that board on there and then you put the battery holder in place, and we should be ready for a test run of this thing just to see what it might actually do. So I'm going to go ahead and read these instructions real quick about how to put all this together, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it together. Put the chips in place, put the battery in, and we'll just see what happens. We'll see if it goes foom or if it actually works the way its designers intended. And here's everything put together. I've got the little boost converter board installed. I have both integrated circuits in place, all the LEDs, all the switches and push buttons. Everything looks like it's ready to go here. Got the battery holder mounted to the back, and really that doesn't look so bad, actually. Some parts of the assembly instructions for this thing are a little bit inelegant. Like, for example, they allow you to put the negative terminal on the battery holder flush, but then the positive one has to be brought out a little bit so that the battery holder ends up being slightly uneven. But it looks like it's good to go, so let's go ahead and get our battery here. My track record's pretty good with these things. The motion sensor that I built when I was a child with my dad out of the Heathkit catalog, the AM stereo transmitter kit, the audio amplifier. The AM stereo transmitter kit almost worked perfectly. Everything else has worked perfectly, so let's see what happens here when we go ahead and turn this thing on. Ooh, pretty! Oh, check that out. Now the camera really shows the pulsating frequency, but to my eyes these things actually look like they're steadily lit. And who knows, maybe by the time the video processing gets done, they'll look steadily lit for you as well. Have a little LED on the power booster board. Yeah, that's pretty doggone cool. Let's see what various modes this thing has available. Okay, looks like that one is some sort of a growing mode. That one's just green. That one's some sort of a chaser. Looks like almost like a virtual game of Duck, Duck, Goose is what I'd liken that thing to. And there's the color cycling again. This thing is actually really cool. I don't know, Furhead, I may just have to conveniently lose this thing or something. It's really got a lot of different modes, considering what a basic, it's just a very basic little Atmel microcontroller that this thing is built around. Smiley face. I wonder if it's got a frowny face. More chasing again. It just appears to be random colors. Color changing chasing. Sort of a bouncing illusion. And I think we're back to where we started. I think that's all that this thing has to offer. But that's pretty freaking cool. I think Furhead might have a hard time getting this back from me. Alright everybody, I've sat here and yacked long enough. Thank you for watching, and by all means feel free to leave a comment if you have one.